we are here. Another miserly, shit, unacceptable, embarrassing, devoid of ideas. When do we get rid of Daesh moment? I was watching the game with Adam. It was probably about 53 minutes in or thereabouts, and they decide, you know what, we're going to start resting center backs when they can't, when they're still trying to figure out their squad. And it was like, all right, we're not going to even test them for the rest of this match, are we? I think we had one shot on target after that, and it was a training drill, and they just waited for Everton mistakes. And beyond that, I will leave it to Corey. What you expected?
Yeah, no, not what I expected. When we spoke on the pre-match, I thought that we defend narrow, defend quite deep, try and attack them on the counter. We come out being quite progressive, quite trying to take the game to them, which I was surprised at. I think it's probably the wrong idea because, although we looked like the better team until they scored, we just did not have any of that kind of solidity, that responsibility that I think we probably needed to get something out of this game against a team that can always hurt you. I think that he picks and chooses. He seems to get everything wrong at the moment. We've had games where we should be attacking and we've sat back and been poor. Today, a day where I thought we probably should have sat back instead and played the way he has been playing. He's actually gone and attacked instead, and it's cost us.
Yeah, we'll probably go over a sequence of how this game went out, but there was one moment, I think, right around halftime that was just fitting. We're going to go attacking. We're going to bring 8 players to the one wing. The ball's given away, and you're like, okay, well, it's 3-0. Now what do we do? And
that's the point. The point is, well, for us as Evertonians, we're going, now what do we do as a club? Happy birthday, Nomad. Yeah, for me, guys, that epitomizes Everton. Now what do we do? And that epitomizes Daesh. Now what do we do? Okay, we came out a little bit. I was surprised by our tenacity at first, but a lack of sharpness in the final third to make the right passes, to take the right shots, to not pass when you should shoot, to shoot when you shouldn't, when you should pass, and then to get a throw in multiple times up near the corner and then play it back to the halfway line, so that we're looking for the fullback to pivot, to use the to the centre back. Now that's not even forward thinking, and we're not trying to drive forward. We're not using internal play. Man United are going down the middle trying to break us down, and we're doing nothing. And as you say, we don't have 2 people. We don't mix it up. It's just it's absurdity, and I'm sick of it.
Yes, absurd. And what was really devastating to me on this match was we didn't score when we had chances, but for the first 20 minutes, it felt United didn't have answers.
Yeah.
We actually pressed. We seemed like an organized unit. The team for a moment felt inspired.
We were controlling the midfield.
Yeah, and to say truly controlled versus both teams were causing turnovers, but it was a competitive midfield. But outside of, Illiman, did we break Illiman and Jai?
Did we break him?
Yeah.
I told you this. Did I not tell you that the only reason they're not playing entirely shit is because they haven't had the football beaten out of them? I said this about a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, I think that was after Southampton, wasn't it?
Sorry, again, like Peter Duggan right at the start, he didn't want to say I told you so. But it's like, look, it's you can predict it. If it's the same thing and nothing changes, are you telling me that we go into Operation Goodison and expect a different fucking result? Sorry, watershed.
It is. Look, Njai still looked good at times. He was still the bright spark. He was still taking players on. He did make a couple of mistakes in terms of the final pass, but so did everyone. And when you've got a team that doesn't attack and doesn't get in that position, you don't have that. We used to see it with Baines and Pino, where they telepathically knew where to go, and that's what you do with. That's what a good manager does and a good coach does, to the point where when you're through, you're going to pass it and a player's going to be there. And Njai's just not used to that at the moment. He doesn't know he's going to be there. We're not used to getting in that position.
That's it. I don't
How about
want
a
to. I
cutback,
don't
a
want
back
to.
post,
I
anything?
sorry. I don't want to vilify the players because, as you say, it's almost so frustrating that you go no, because they're not necessarily doing everything wrong. But it becomes down to this point of, well, if they're all doing stuff wrong, they can't all be shit. There's got to be a common denominator. That's the thinking for me, because and Dye does go on, and Decore was a wild card, and we did press them and steal the ball a few times, but then we're in a great position and we go, no, I'm just going to turn away from goal now. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like,
there was a clear chance where Decore was wide open. I think it was Beto that was driving through the center on the first half, and that was just a little simple. It was 0-0. It was a little simple, ball that would have been through to Beto, from Beto to Decore, and it was just like open in the box, But instead he passed it in, I think it was in Jai, and it was just man marked and
yes, I think Lollipop is correct. But I will say, what scared me more than the lack of scoring today was this felt like when we couldn't score for a while under Frank Lampard, and when no shit, yes. So when that happened,
sorry,
but okay, so in that period, when someone scores first, Everton's heads go down, and it was game over. That was exactly what happened after. But it was like they did so well, all things relative, with the poor form and lack of how poorly we've been playing. We were playing much better football for a bit. It was mid-table, but it was better. Then that goal comes in, heads drop, and we just looked scared of a mid-table squad that had a bit of confidence until about the 55th minute or whatever, and then it was competitive again until there was another mistake.
The body language and the mistake and the confidence after that first goal, the way it drained out, felt like Villa when they went down, Sunderland when they went down. All teams that have been relatively familiar in the Premier League, when it's the end times, same as what it was, like you said, under Frank Lampard, when it just looks like if you don't change it, you're going down. They've given up, whether they've intentionally given up or there's just a mental thing where the heads have dropped now. That's what it feels like. And it just feels like, I think the players are treading.
Yeah, but when you talk about that, to me, sorry, maybe I'm artificially creating a segue here, but Al Clark's just commented something, and I will bring it up in context. Now, you're right. And if you don't change it, but equally, there is a deep problem. There is a deep-rooted problem at Everton with mentality, with psychology, with not attacking the game, with getting so deflated after going that goal down, and knowing because the facts say for it demonstrably, it's difficult for us to score one goal. It's fucking impossible for us to score two, and certainly when it's two from a losing position, right? But Al Clark has said this is exactly the result we needed. I mean, we needed the points. I'm not just being cute, or I'm not saying you're being an arsey. I get what you're saying, Alan. I'm sure a lot of us do, because it's going to maybe help us pick up points that we weren't ordinarily going to get in this run of games. I don't know what you guys think, but I think the problem's deeper than that.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Yeah.
So there's a comment here, which we're talking segues. We're talking mentality, and if things get riled up so badly, and Spurs was like that as well, do you expect a response? The problem is, there's been a lot of negativity. They tried a response today, and then it got shut down. That was their response. It wasn't good enough, but I thought that was a response. My problem now is you're seeing, okay, so I ain't got a dog in this race, but Everton have stayed up in the past 3 seasons is mostly because of luck. The Toffees have been 3 worst teams than you guys every year over that time. So but I'll use the dog point on this and segue. If a dog has multiple owners and is happy with the new owner until one day it gets kicked, and the dog loses all confidence again. It's that problem, the mentality. But we've got these broken players that need to be if you go down and you lose, okay, fight, be proud of it. But this was one of those games that everyone just heads down. They were scared. I haven't seen Branthwaite look that fearful. And he did.
He's young. He should be confident. He should, even the mistakes, it should be, no, I'm young and I'm learning and we're going to go and get another goal back. You need that. I'm sorry, guys, if this is going to get a bit personal, but everyone out there, I felt so badly for him looking at the replays. The ball potentially Pickford might have flicked it on, it might have hit the post, it could have gone wide. It hit his foot, but he's doing the right thing. He's blocking the ball and he gets penalised for it. And when he most needs his teammates around him, I just felt my heart broke. And I'm just like, I love these guys, every single one of them in a blue shirt, but they're being let down by the people who are meant to protect and lead them.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Branthwaite until that point, I think was we want a beacon of hope for the squad, the franchise. He's one of them. I think Njai can be one of them, but those two right now are the two for us. And Branthwaite was playing excellent. He has been shaky until that point this season. He was basically showing United and on a relatively speaking world stage at Old Trafford that he's better than everyone else on that pitch, and his confidence just, as you're saying,
Yeah,
truly.
I mean, I don't even know as much as it was confidence, because it went in. Yeah, you can see he looked a little bit drained. I think it was mainly for the rest of that first half, because the second half there was a couple of balls coming and he still showed his class. There was one where the ball got pinged to him and he just outreached his right foot and just cushioned it back to Pickford. That was right on the touchline. And he still, when he got the ball, he was still trying to pass the ball forward. So he has got that mental fortitude and he has got that ability to kind of keep going. He's got that kind of confidence. But by that point, there was still no one showing for the ball. One of our main chances was the one where Branthwaite got the ball deep, passed the ball forward. This is when it was 0-0. McNeil, he passes it forward, and that's when Beto got sent wide.
Yeah.
As soon as we went 2-0 down, the heads dropped all over, and we just was not creating that same attempt again.
But when there's been multiple times when it feels like the players themselves are doing their best, but I think they've been hamstrung by it feels like, as Mark's just said, confident players.
Do you think it's coaching? Do you think it's coaching, Jan, or is it
it's a combination.
I don't know.
Look, I don't know. It could be. I'm putting the possibility out there, and I'm asking for your guys' opinions. But Mark said confident players are created on the training field, so it's down to training, tactics, resilience, fitness, awareness. It's down to nutrition. It's also down to psychology and group mentality and cohesion and everything. And with everything that's going on at Everton, we don't have that. And you need somebody who's going to steady the ship and literally overhaul it. Hopefully, a takeover is going to do that. But we haven't had that. We had like a bang. I sound like a broken record, but we had Lampard with his Mondays off. We had Benitez sacking all the backroom staff. We've not had that, and it makes me feel like, what is the heart of our club? Like, I genuinely, it's heartbreaking to ask this question, right? But maybe it comes down to this: what is the heart of this club? Because under Moyes, it was Moyes, and he steadied the ship, and he's strict, and he had his tactics, and he had his sort of Moneyball mentality, right? Under Joe Royle, we had some mentality of dogs and war. Howard Kendall, it was like third time. You know what I mean? Just Martinez developed some kind of style, and Silva did, but he was a bit lightweight. Ancelotti brought something, a unifying thing, right? Even the reports of slapping Patterson, and then these players that are meant to. I'm sorry, I'm gonna monopolize the airtime and not discuss it, but I could go on and on and on, and surely you guys can know there's 1,000 different avenues you can go down.
Yeah, well, even just a minor thing I've seen, like, I think we're one of the only teams in the Premier League just before the start of any match where the players don't come together and quickly huddle in a circle just to give a quick, the captain says his little tubbins worth, and then all of a sudden they get into the pitch. I see so many teams do it. Wolves do it. Southampton do it. I've seen Newcastle do it. I've seen heaps of teams do it. And I don't think I've ever seen Everton do it. Not all. Just like a little group huddle for a match.
I'd rather see them go down swinging than somebody who doesn't, or in some ways, or throw in the towel. Acknowledge that it's not working. Make a substitution. Say we fucked up that match. Work on different tactics. Change the formation. That's the kind of thinking when I say throw in the towel, rather than the trainer stand in the corner going, "Oh, sorry, did he get punched there? I didn't even notice. Oh, did we bring any sort of ice?" So, I'm fuming.
Yeah,
mate.
it's not. I don't know if he has completely lost the dressing room, but I do think the players aren't happy. Whether that's completely losing the dressing room in general, I don't know. But the players aren't happy. They're playing boring football, especially the attacking players. They're not getting the results out of it. They're not getting support from the crowd either, because the crowd have got the life sucked out of them as well. Yeah, look, because earlier there, you're completely right. He doesn't inspire change in the crowd, in the players. That inspiration's just not there. And I'm sure there's someone else who's able to convey them feelings as well. Is that right, Ryan?
No, fucking hell. What's the point? Just seriously, just tell me what the point is. Can we press a button and just skip through the next month? Because there's literally no point watching any of these games.
Ryan, you can press a button and skip the next month. It's called £10 bottles of Baileys on sale at Tesco's.
We cannot unfollow Everton, can we?
Yeah, you
There
took
are
the
other
words
drinks
exactly
and
out of
other
my mouth there.
supermarkets available.
Does the hot tub time machine allow you to go forwards and backwards? Because that'd be real nice.
What's your solution, Ryan?
Sack him now and give it to Moyes till the end of the season, and then let's assess what's going on, because at least you know what you get. No, you're shaking your head. This guy's a mini. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. I'm sorry, but look at the first goal. He leaves him unmarked on the edge of the box. Of course he's going to fucking have a shot. What's he going to do?
I know, I
Pass it back to
called
the
it. I
goalie?
called it. I called it.
He's not going to pass it back to the goal. He's going to have a shot. It's a joke. And then the second goals. I'm telling you now why we got pickpocketed twice. Because the players' confidence are gone. They don't have options in front of them, so they pause. Then their confidence is gone, and they don't give a shit because the manager in their head, they know they're never going to score, they're never going to win, and they know the manager's gone, and we've got to get rid. I'm sorry now. I liked him when he was doing the dicey things, which was the winning the ball high up the pitch, turning teams over, being nasty, getting the tackles in,
The no nonsense stuff. Yeah.
There's none of that now, so he's pointless. And the players, McNeil looked like he had lead in his boots. I've never seen someone run so slow. My nan's 96 and I get home, and she can.
And I wouldn't mind Young going forward and sometimes, but then a midfielder will drop back and he won't make the run forward. There'll be two people there. Then they'll play the ball and they'll both get caught out by the Man United player doing the overlap, and that's what leaves us exposed with fucking.
We've got five fucking midfielders. So I'm not being funny. When Young goes forward down that wing, there was a chance that irritated me. Can I tell you about the first goal they scored, the corner? Young goes forward for the first time in the entire match, plays a P-Rolly, Leon Osman-esque style cross into the box, which is the first man. Young is caught up the other end of the pitch. They run up the other end and get a corner. And then we just play into their hands, and it's brainless. You know, in a good system, when the fullbacks go forward, someone shifts over to cover that space. Sorry, I'm shouting, but I think I'm valid. I don't need to do this anymore. It's 4 years.
What I would like to point out, Ryan, is I'm willing to admit I'm wrong because watching it live and not seeing the full replay. But the corner that they scored from, I believe that was second phase from offside, where the ball went forward to a United player, and Branthwaite, did he slide it out or whatever it was? But when that ball got played forward originally, with the whole let it play and call it back, that was actually offside. But then when it went for a corner, then it becomes second phase. That's my argument again, I believe. But I might be wrong on that. I'm just saying. But that illustrates the
linesman would have still, once the ball goes out of play, he would have still put his flag up. So it might have, if I don't know, because I didn't see any offside call on there. But
no, only if he suspects it's offside. But with a VAR review is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Man United did the same ball all game. Play it in behind the slow, turgid fullbacks of Everton. And have us running back towards our own goal. At what point did we have United running back towards their own goal? The thing that pissed me off was with one of the goals, Pickford plays it into Garnegate in the midfield. We play a few passes and it goes behind the first Man United press. So United are pressing us. We play it behind their press, actually into the midfield for Garner. And what does he do? Rather than turn with it and be progressive and use the fact he's ahead of the United defenders and we've actually played through them, he plays it back to Pickford, who plays it to Branthwaite, and Branthwaite loses it. Come on, you imbecile.
Or was it Tarkovsky? But yes, the point is this. I know.
McNeil did that all match too.
And the Tarkovsky one is because he doesn't give a fuck. He knows it's finished. It would have just crunched him. Look, if they had the intensity in there, he'd have just put his foot through that ball and took ball and man. But instead, he was weak as piss. And then go towards the ball while we're backing off. And fucking hell, United. Can I just say, United were terrible and they won 4-0.
Yeah,
Terrible.
yeah, United. That's a scoreline that flattered United. They didn't win that game. We have give them a 4-0 win.
They were not
It's
celebrating
I
that
think so
first
too.
goal
Yeah.
properly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did a tweet. Sorry, I'm going to drop out in a second because I'm at work. I did a tweet before the goal, first goal, and I said, all United are doing here is waiting for Everton to make mistakes. They're not going to
And they
score,
did.
waiting for Everton mistakes, and they got 4 of them.
Too tactical and too individual, but the tactics led up to an
Individual.
overwhelmed defense trying to hold on to a really tough situation with not enough outlets, and if they're going to make errors from time to time.
And with the, and
And-
this is the inflexibility of Dyche, that we don't correct those errors, and it led to a situation where we have Beto up front, which we've been screaming for. But look at the difference it did make. Admittedly, it wasn't great, but the difference it made when we had DCL and Beto. Now, to think that United are playing a new system with 3 at the back, and they've got De Ligt, and just on his own is a fucking good centre back anyway, right? But then they've got the speed of Dallo and the 2 wing backs, right? So you can't prance at them and then expect Beto to do everything. I'm sorry. Do you know what?
Amad Diallo was excellent to that point. He was probably the man of the match for United.
There was a complete lack of chemistry and combinations. I mean, you look at Ndiaye, he's often having to beat 2, 3, 4 players. Why is there no one around him who can link up with him to beat players, to create triangles, to get into good crossing areas, and eventually get the ball into the box? It's almost like a style of play. If I was the manager coming in now, I'd say, right, I know I've got this really talented boy. I know I've got players who can head the ball. I'm going to try and work overloads down the wings, crossing opportunities, and get the ball into the box for them players and someone coming in at the back post. And I'm going to have my other fullback on the other side, staying very disciplined. And I just got to be more to it. I'm sorry. Either Sean Dyche is not getting a tune out of them and they're not following instructions, or he doesn't have a clue. Adam, come in.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there, Ryan. I think there's a massive. I think some of the players. I think there's a mixture of Dyche camp and also Dyche camp out, and then there's also the style that he's trying to inflict on to the team. There's some guys that actually have a footballing brain who want to play to an attractive brand, but at the same time, the guys behind him aren't quite at that point, at that space. You know, there's a conflicting style of play, and I think some of the players.
Well, it's basically there's a mutiny in the Everton camp right now.
Yeah,
you've got the Dyche loyalists who are given opportunities, and then
we were talking about this.
And we were at lunch, and we're talking to some of the professionals here. You feel like Ashley Young will commit, Michael Keane will commit, Tarky commits, but then there's Patterson showed up for the first time. Harrison's been on the.
He did a really good overlapping run, put the ball in the box.
Yeah,
for DCL header.
I think there's a large group of people that don't feel like they're actually doing good, interesting football and are just tired of it. And then those that are happy to get a paycheck and commit to like a normal procedure of, hey, this is my Premier League. If I'm told to do this, that's my job. Old school, hurrah! And then you've got the Ghana Gay as his own leader, because it brings up another point where they've been talking now about. We saw O'Brien come on for Tarky. Tarky as the leader is not doing his job on the field.
Just a quick one. This is for everyone to comment on. What do you think of the actual? I mean, I'm not really too sure if United were pressing it by this point, but what did you think of the combination between O'Brien and Branthwaite when he actually came on? Because when O'Brien came on with the Branthwaite pairing, United didn't score.
Yeah, it may have also been game over, and the match was boring for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, but did anyone pick up on that? Or
I think what I see from Jacob again, it could have been the circumstances, but his legs seem a bit better. As soon as the ball was shifted out wide, he chased his man down pretty well. I think you compare it to what Tarkowski was like for most of the match. He wasn't solid. And that's for all his faults at times with Tarkowski. He's solid. He looked very, very weak. He also wasn't leading. But yeah, it's hard to say. It could have also been Mangala coming in the midfield, potentially just sitting there. There's a lot of factors to take into account for that.
Well, they didn't.
What the thing for me is, it's very easy, and I'm not dismissing this, and I'm not saying that all the Everton players are shit, and I'm not saying that all the United players are great. Like, for instance, I'll throw my hands up here. And if United players are watching, of course, he's a great player. There's an element to Casemiro's game that I really hate, that I'd probably love if he played for Everton, which is like that kid at school when you were at school who'd bully you or wind you up and then turn around and be like, got you into trouble. And you just pray every day that you're going to go into school. There's going to be a school assembly and they say, he got run over on the way home from school yesterday. Like, it's just... because the way that he was manufacturing and easily buying so many fouls, right? The fact that we're not cute enough to respond to that the Dyche isn't giving, that it feels like there's a complete breakdown in a workflow. Imagine you go to a workplace, right? And there's just no cohesion, there's no workflow, there's no unity, you're not all pulling in the same direction, there's not people taking the flak, even though it's not their direct fault, because they're responsible. It's manning up and doing things in a gentlemanly way, that if you really want nil satis nisi optimum, it means like the players have a sense of unity, that there's no factions, and you don't encourage that tribalism of the fringe players or anything. They're a squad, they're unified, they're pulling in the same direction, they're represented by the senior legendary players that we sort of revere, whether that's going to be Coleman, even though he's not playing, whether you want sort of Pickfords or Tarkowski doing that, yeah. But when you talk about factionalism and there's not certainty on their positions, their starting, their value to the club, when they're sidelined and brought in, when there's mystery illnesses, it's just a complete shit show.
I got to go in a second.
That's obviously a tactical type thing, but I think we were talking about before. And is there a manager you think that would potentially steady the ship and and have a bit of a mentality shift for Everton? Who are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to throw names out there when they've not particularly done anything and they've had a series of, you might call, failures. You want the...
Corey's been researching some managers and I think he wants to do a show on this.
Yeah.
I think maybe after the stream initiative Corey's about, Corey, you're not set up on admin, but it would be good to get some of your solutions for the next Everton manager, because I'm just going to say, and I said this quite early on, last season was last season. That was then. This is now. Let's live in the now. Let's live in the reality of where we are. Let's not harp on about what we thought was quite good last year, because it was respectable, but it's not now.
Where we are is desperately close to falling and tumbling towards the bottom of the league.
We're rubbish. That's the bottom line. I feel like we're unprofessional. We're not doing the things. I don't know what's going on with the manager. I think he's fallen out with a lot of players. I think a lot of players are not happy with him. I also, I'm suspect on the coaching and how we're being set up. Look at the set pieces. Look at the movement off the ball. Look at the lack of confidence in individuals. It's his job to motivate these guys and make them feel loved. And I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing them looking unprofessional. There was a screenshot, because I never saw the third goal, and it was just a screenshot, and it was like he's running through. And I'm like, how can it was from our own goal kick, I think, from a Pickford long ball to pass. How can you be set? What are you doing on the changing room? I'm sorry, but the coaching isn't there. And for Wednesday night, I would just rip the whole thing up. Tarkowski doesn't deserve to play. Decore doesn't deserve to play in that silly 8 role. I'm sorry, but you need big change, and I'm going to go and jump in a river. Anyway, I've got to go back to work, but I'm really liking this. The only positive is this little Sky Sports studio in the top left-hand corner. All they need is a couple of microphones in front of them, and they were having a conversation amongst themselves, which is quite funny. So enjoy the rest of the stream. I'm going to watch you guys back later, but I've got to go back to work now. But what the hell have I just wasted 90 minutes of my life again? And I'm going to waste it on Wednesday, and I'll waste it again on Saturday. I'm going to waste it again on the 14th Arsenal. Arsenal dick us 4-0. Chelsea will probably beat us 2-0. Liverpool will beat us 3-0. Wolves will nick a 1-0 late goal. And we'll be sat here and we'll have wasted another month. So either do something now or don't. But you should do something now. And I think I'd sack both Dyche and Kevin Thelwell, because he signed half of those crabs yet again. I'm sure he signed McNeil. I'm sure he signed Mikolenko. I don't like any of them. Get rid. Fuck off. Go to hell.
Thank you for the balanced and informative content from Ryan on Follow Everton.
I can do analysis, composed, relaxed, professional, but I don't think after a 4-0 win. Fuck me. Yeah. I'm mind win. I don't think the audience want to see calm, composed, rational. I think they want to see the fact that we're fed up. You know, get angry, guys. Get angry at this. This is a joke.
Well,
this is professional football. Bye.
Began's a horrifying point. Part of what's happened now is that this malaise is just so. I was doing this. I went to sleep in the middle of the day to do a live watch along at the Brentford match, and it was like from 11:30 at night to 1:30 in the morning, watching boring content, and I had to try and come up with something creative for 2 hours. It's taking my love of football away, and I'm not even don't have the energy to be angry right now. That's the kind of problem that a lot of us are having. Being angry gets boring too, and I'm bored of being angry, but I don't know what else to think.
Oh, it's apathy. It's total apathy all around. Me and Jan again talking about it last week. Is that the fans, the players, everything that's gone on for the past 4 years, the fact we're in limbo when we know that we can't do anything anyway, and the football itself. There's no passion in the football. It translates onto the pitch, but it translates to us. And even when stuff is crap, you just, not that you can't be bothered, but what can we do to change it? You know what I mean? I said, I've been looking at the potential managers that we could get in. But again, it's a case of when do they come in? When can we get rid of Dyche? Will we even get rid of him?
Yesterday, please.
What was that, my mate?
Yesterday.
Yeah. If we could, do you know what I mean? But no one knows where we're at. No one knows, can we afford to? Do the new managers want to do it? Well, and I think once the takeover goes through, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and apparently it's meant to be in the next 10 days, we'll be able to have proper, serious conversations and see some change. And if we don't, I think at that point, then we need to say to ourselves, we need to kind of mobilise and make sure we get that change within the club as early as we can with the new owners, because it's just not working at the moment. Everyone just feels drained. The atmosphere is not there in the ground, especially on the pitch. I think most of the players aren't happy. We need change.
If we lose the next 4 matches under Dyche, you know what? I'd rather a new manager. We lose. We're setting new principles at bay, and we're trying to make progress and rewriting the ship. Granted, if a new manager if a new manager comes in and you lose, and they lose the first 4 matches, you have a different problem. You didn't have a manager bounce. There's a lack of belief in the system. We're talking about the Everton players not wanting to fight for it. You know what? The second it worked for United today, they were so up for it because it worked. They had a moment of positivity. But maybe it's as simple as scoring 1 goal can change everything. I don't think it changes everything. It might give some of these players a moment.
But you lived in America for far too long. That is such a Hollywood romanticized. Maybe 1 goal is all the difference of all the young impoverished 7-year-olds trying to play ice hockey with poor equipment, and then no, coach, we can do it. We can do it. We just need to score 1 goal.
I am not saying that we're actually going up the table. I'm saying we go back to intolerable, but they get results. And it's basically the same as the end of last season, where you can grind out mediocre looking football and get points. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that we want to keep him. No, he needs to go, and it's a matter of when, based on the financial situation and who's the replacement.
It's just the freaking group have got a manager lined up, ready to go, and they've got the funds to be able to pay the actual Everton staff and Dyche's backroom staff for that to work on time. But they need to do it in immediate effect.
There's 4 managers. I read the report today. There's 4 managers who the freaking group want in. So apparently, number 1 is that Conceição. Number 2 is Graham Potter. Number 3 is Terzic, who is the Dortmund manager, and number 4 is Sarri. Now they're probably just reports, so I'll take them with a little bit of a pinch of salt. The different kind of ethos on the managers is a bit worrying, but these managers that we want in, Conceição, who we all want. I've lost my train of thought now. The managers that we want, the likes of Conceição, they aren't going to come to a team in the bottom 3. They're not going to come in and have a relegation fight. They want assurances that they're going to be managing a Premier League team.
Yeah. I mean, well, hang on. Having said that, I'm sorry.
Oh,
If somebody is like, my thinking is, if you're going in with eyes open wide, I mean, is this takeover being delayed because potentially he's going to back out of a club that looks like it's going to get relegated? That's a different question. And a terrifying one.
All the reports so far is it's still all going ahead. So I think we've had a couple of updates over the past couple of weeks. Everything just saying it's all going ahead smoothly, not to worry. So I wouldn't panic like that, mate.
Right. Okay. You say that, but then knowing that the Friedkin Group and that are making a huge investment with the potential and with the almost certainty of a profitable venture going forward, from a business side of it, maybe not footballing success immediately, would they not then go with open eyes to get a manager that they would want to get on a sort of at least a 4 or 5 year, I don't know about the contract, but a tenure to build something and see where we go from there? And if that means, I mean, nobody wants to, but if that means starting, joining now and going, okay, we're down in the conference, we need to get, the championship, bloody hell, fucking hell, and we need to get back up, then is that not something that a consummate professional who's basically going to say, okay, this is on me, and if we don't, then we'll have to readdress it? Do you know what I'm saying? Is that not?
Depends on what you used to.
Yeah. That's sort of what Brighton have done, really. Like, they brought in that guy. I think he's only in his early 20s, I believe. And he's not really that proven as well. Like, yeah.
Field of Dreams. If you build it, if you pay them, they will come.
But again, if you're getting ones like that, are they just going to be your mercenaries that are going to come in and not the right guy for the project? Like I said, that Conceição, he's at Porto. They've been fairly poor recently. And Porto have been, Porto, Sporting Lisbon have been getting better and better and better under Almiron. He's started to bring Porto as a better team again. He's really started to improve them. They're a lot further ahead than we are. So why would he come to us, potentially get a relegation on his cards, be a championship manager when he could stay in a European team and potentially get a move somewhere bigger? So again, it's risking the reward and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, look, you can sell it on the sexiness of the new stadium, but I think it's difficult to try and get them players in mid-season when you're doing so poorly. Then they have to come in and they have to really, really sell the Everton job to whoever comes in and assure them that if you come in, I'm going to throw money at you to make sure you stay up.
Just like to point out to Trevor, I'm not dissing what Roy Nixon said. I absolutely agree. That's the point I was making. If you pay someone enough and you've got a manager who believes in the system and then they can see the potential in Everton and the club and they're given the reins to build the foundations of something, absolutely. It was just how he phrased it reminded me of Field of Dreams. Let's not get too sensitive, dude. Like, I'm not dissing him. I agree with him. I'm just trying to add some humor into a fucking miserable situation. And the reality is, the more I look at it and the worse it gets, the more it looks like we're going to get fucking relegated. And it seems like nobody at the club gives a toss.
They're just willing to let this go until the Friedkins come in. But that better hurry up. And if the 777 scenario doesn't resolve itself, and I'm not sure what Peter's mentioned in those new issues, if that's the case, we then sack Dyche tomorrow. No waiting around for a system change. But we also want a new vision. Yeah, we want a 4-year plan, not a stopgap. I'm tired of stopgaps, but we've been promised the future is better. We have a field of Liverpool dreams, almost there, right? Next season. But you know what? Walking into a nice stadium doesn't make you play better.
That should be the takeaway that all 4 of us here, and Ryan and everyone else part of the channel, and I'd say the vast majority of Blues, they know and they agree and they're angry that this is not good enough. Dyche is not good enough. Dyche has made mistakes, and probably the vast majority of us want him gone. He deserved to be gone after the run that we've had. However, we're all saying this under the caveat of we don't want to be in the same mess in 12 to 18 months' time. We want to make sure that we do it properly. There's no point selling Dyche, going short-termism again, and we're in the same issue. We need to make sure we're doing it properly and all with what else is going on in terms of the takeover. So we're trying to be realistic. As much as we all probably agree that he needs to go, we've just got to take that caveat into account. So we're
Yeah,
not mocking anyone when we say that.
Well,
We
yeah.
just put a realistic head on it.
But do you think? Sorry, can I just say? I think again. I know I keep harping on about this, but to me, it's symptomatic of a problem that's endemic throughout the whole of Everton Football Club, which is really worrying. The fact that we haven't had some urgency, the fact that we've been floating along like flotsam and jetsam on the ocean of football with one poor guy on the board in any position who's only real, I believe, was put on because of the stadium. So then what does that give the direction for everybody underneath that there's just, and I hate to say this, right, but oh my God, do we miss fucking Bill Kenwright? Like, I don't hate to say it, but sorry, because the guy was a lovely human being, right, regardless of what we want to get into in football. But my God, do we realise now how much he was holding us together and papering over the cracks, is my thinking.
I think a lot of the mess is his fault, though. And I think the fact that he's brought Mashiri in, had kept control over it. There's been so many people involved, including him and Mashiri coming to loggerheads. I think
Mashiri's just as bad, though. I think Mashiri's demonstrated he's been just as bad.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Kenwright held us together. I think he's been just as bad. I mean, Mashiri's given us a stadium, but he's also given us in a terrible position. I just think we've gone from one shithead to another shithead. Kenwright meant, whereas Kenwright's intentions were always good, he just wasn't great at it.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Wormy. I'm sometimes I play devil's advocate to get a discussion going. I do like the guy. I think he had the best of intentions. I think he probably should. There's different things, but I won't speak ill of the man. Rest in peace, all that kind of stuff. We are where we are now. We were messed up with the Russian war, Usmanov, poor finances, COVID, all these kind of things. It's things that have affected us and everyone and various things, but we just haven't. We haven't had any drive, as you say. It's just been stopgaps, and it's not good enough. Like, what's the heart of the club? Because at least what I'm saying is, for all his faults, at least with Kenwright, we had some sense of culture or identity, even if it was old boy schmooze yes men. There was some sort of something at the club.
Yeah, he done brilliant bringing Moyes in, but I think, again, a lot of that culture probably stemmed from Moyes, and Kenwright was happy to ride on that. Correct decision to do, but I think a lot of that culture stemmed from Moyes in terms of, you come in, the people's club, this is what we want to do, and it all went off that. The moment he got rid of, the moment that Moyes left, it's been one poor decision after the other. Martinez was never the right decision to get in. He was Wigan manager. He won the cup, but he got relegated. He was never the manager. Koeman, look, I wanted him at the time, but again, just the completely wrong fit. Sam Allardyce, terrible decision. The one good decision, which was bringing in Marcel Brands' decision to get Marco Silva, we got rid of him. And then instead of consulting Brands, he got Allardyce in. He wanted Arteta. He got Carlo. I enjoyed the time under Carlo, but again, it's short-termism. Benitez, that again was a Kenwright and Mashiri joint.
And even if you do all this trial and splashing the cash of, oh, fuck it, we'll sack him and get another one. Even if you get a better manager, you're creating problems by having that lack of consistency in people, just the little things in the day-to-day that's automatic that you shouldn't have to think about. You get in a job, and after, it will take people a different amount of time, right? But some people can adapt within a couple of weeks. Some people months. Some people are still a bit awkward. But but as a team, you all pull together, and it's things like you get out your car. You need your pass out. You get your badge out your pocket. You put it there. You say hi to reception. You pick up your post from the pigeonhole. Not to go for the lift because you're going to take the stairs, because where you sit and where you're going to go and pick up the envelopes in the morning or pick up these invoices, or there's something from legal. I'm just making shit up, right? But it's just everything should be automatic. And when you change everything from the bloody from everyone at the club has changed. Everything at the club has changed. There's been no consistency. There's been no ethos. Like, think of it like a school where players are the students and the staff and all that are the teachers, right? And the head teacher is the manager, or you've got the board. We've had the entire spirit has just gone, and there's been no element of keeping it consistent.
Yeah, and
we've had Dyche for 2 years. That's consistency, isn't it?
I mean, this is what other teams have done. I mean, if you look at other teams, so let's say Barcelona, they've had a really poor time of it, But every manager he brought in, although some might be different, there's still been some consistency there. The way they play from the youth academy, the consistency has been there. Bayern Munich, when they've had a poor season last season, companies come in. Look, I think he's a decent manager, but again, they play similar kind of football. There's no bad upheavals with a patchwork squad. And that is something that if, when we do a little show talking about potential managers that we could get in to replace Deitch, something worth discussing. Do we completely go complete evolution, rip it all up, or do we try and ease our way back into an evolution kind of thing?
0161 856 63200. Don't know if it's the police or BBC.
You're right there, mate.
Shit, sorry, I thought that was really quiet.
No.
No.
Oops.
All right, tell the pin code again. I'll write it down.
No. One sec.
Yeah. What do you boys think? If we go to a new manager, do we do complete evolution, a complete revolution, completely upheave, change everyone around, completely new type tactical style, or do you think it should be a case of just, let's say, slowly going more offensive and try and build on the foundations of what we've got?
I would probably do a new evolution and revolve it around players like Branthwaite and Ndai and
maybe O'Brien
and O'Brien, because I really like the partnership of O'Brien and Branthwaite, and build it around those guys. But get a manager that can actually give Everton a bit more of an identity as a club. I think that's what we've been lacking: a style of play, identity. Whether or not that style of play is more defensive with, counter football, that sort of stuff, or if it's, playing out from the back like Southampton do, and, that type of style. But then even like to a degree that Notts Forest do, they're gritty. They get the possession football, that they can also ping a long ball, and they can also be expansive as well with their style of play. Yeah, just a style of play that can identify and we can actually all get behind and go, we actually like this style of play. This is, at some games it might not be working, but then that's where the manager has to go, right, well, this is what we've committed to. Yeah, this was a bad game, and now we need to, just dial it in a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we face the next match, though? How do you face it mentally, tactically, lineup wise? How do we honestly, like, how do you do that?
I think he's really going to. He's going to have to get the boys and give a serious talking.
We need a Seamus pep talk right now.
We need a Seamus pep talk, and he says, "Put your heads in, lads. Otherwise, we'll put your heads in. Otherwise, we're not. We're playing in the championship. If that's what you want to do, then yeah, go ahead."
Players that have played okay, like better than others in midfield. There's things that have worked at times this season, and he just keeps ignoring it. The core in that midfield just not working at the moment. Bring him on late on in games when he's got his physicality. He's better. I've been saying this for weeks. There's players like Beto today. I would have started these boys. I would have started Calvert-Lewin first to deal with the team and build slowly. I just feel like he's getting every single decision wrong, and I think he needs to take a look at himself, take a look at the players that he's favoritising, and rip that up and ignore it, and grow some humility.
So for me, like, none of these are attacks on players, because the idea of being a good manager and tactician is you use each individual's players' strengths as best as possible and use them, strategically in a match, right? But okay, so Pickford, sometimes he's not instructed correctly of when to make the right forward ball. He makes some fantastic passes and he has this capability. I'm saying that now the errors that come up that we don't capitalize on enough is that of when he should and shouldn't take free kicks, and when we pass it back to him, and what he's doing, and sometimes putting the defense under pressure. Fullbacks choosing, Ashley Young is getting older, but we don't realize we don't have a midfielder that plays alongside him. Idrissa Gana Gueye doesn't have the elasticity and the craziness to step in that he did, especially that epitomized his first tenure at the club. And so that when we have somebody like Devoid, who's a wild card in a similar way, a bit more physical to that, doing a similar thing, we don't have the Fellaini, the Carsley, or the Onana kind of a more physical presence to temper or to work in partnership with that in the same way. So then we're exposed in the midfield, as we've demonstrably been so many times. We're not even trying Patterson to utilize that, so then we have speed to our advantage. Mikolenko is I don't know. I don't want to keep listing players, but the way that we're not tactically using them, the way that he sticks players to stay on the side or doesn't. I'm going bonkers. I'm on a loop here, lad.
Patterson was notably affecting the game when he came on.
Yeah.
Yes, Ashley Young, in a sense, didn't do a step wrong, but did he do a step right, or is it? And so you've got that.
No. He did do a few things wrong that I would say that as you're saying, aren't directly malicious. They're sort of passively or oopsie things where and he doesn't insist that the bloody midfielder covers his gap or plugs the midfield. So then we're exposed when he's forward, the midfielder and him dally and don't know what to do, and they're slower and their reactions are slower. And then United are already fucking running on the break, and you just look at them and go, oh crap, we've exposed our right wing.
There was a massive difference. You said it right, Chris. There was a massive difference when Patterson came on. And again, it could have been the time, it could have been the scoreline, but we've seen it before when Patterson comes on the pitch. The first ball he tried to play into Dom when he played it deep. When he tried to get on the overlap and he put the ball in for Dom's header, the lad tries something. He does something different. And we've said plenty of times, even just on this stream now, compared to other weeks as well, is that when you have overloads, it creates more indecision and more space. So whether it's Patterson who's doing the overlapping and whipping the ball in, or he's creating that space, I think Patterson has to start. His issue's been he's not been fit, apparently. He's got some game time. He's looked okay. Okay, yeah, consider that the tempo has gone down a little bit, but he's played a game. He should be able to start. And if you want to put Young on the left instead of Mikalenko, that's fine. But play a wing back, someone who's going to overlap.
If he can't start, it begs the question, have the medical team been negligent and signed a player with a serious problem, or is he very unlucky? If he can start, then you'd have to ask, has our acquisition and talent scouting bought someone that doesn't fit into the team if he truly does not priority to place above Young? If it's about fitness, then is it the fitness and the physios, or the diet? You just have to ask. There are so many variables there that you go, okay, we don't know. But when there are so many things that conspire to literally us being on the brink of fucking doom, we deserve answers because we're not getting results.
100%. It feels like a lack of accountability, a lack of stepping up.
Yeah. That's what I meant before, by the way. Sorry, I know it was a bit tangential when I talked about you go into a workplace, you want things to be automatic. Because I'm not saying that footballers need to be pampered, although a lot of them are, and that's the way of the world. But when you have somebody who's gone, oh, I've arranged this, here's your car, here's your meal, all this kind of stuff, that's at the extreme end to illustrate the point. That when we don't have anything maybe of that consistency, it's all great saying these facilities, but if you don't have people managing the nature, like for instance, it's unprofessional, it's amateur. When we have players or the club and fans confronting players on a train after the Spurs game, or things like that are the fundamentals of how you've got to think, and it's a lack of emotional intelligence, really. Oh, sorry, there you go.
No, Jan, I completely agree. We're very much stuck in a rut. I think we can probably end it here, can't we, boys? I mean, we're going around in circles now. Let's just agree. It's another poor showing. There's a lack of impetus. There's a lack of want. There's a lack of tempo. There's just a lack of love and happiness and any kind of oomph at the club right now. So let's hope it changes midweek, or let's hope something changes.
But look, V will resolve everything.
I don't want to go yet. If you guys want to, it's fine. Maybe we're going over. But Gavin says here, why has Roman Dixon been treated so bad? Where's the youth? Like for instance, Anthony Gordon. Athleticism of football is footballers now. It's not really about skill. That's why United Youth Academy teach youngsters how to fall down or kick or knock each other in the balls or give them an elbow before they start teaching football. And we're talking about kids, right? Okay, but it's true. You can speak to people who've had their kids at the academies there, and it's but look, I don't quite understand why we gave players like Anthony Gordon a try and persisted in him with the sort of the behavior and the comments and all that. And I want out, and yet we don't give Roman Dixon and all these youngsters, we don't even give them a run of games so that we can inflate their price by a couple of million to sell them to teams that we're probably either going to be playing with next season because they'll get promoted or we'll get relegated.
Yeah,
Why?
it's a managerial decision. That's all it is. He doesn't trust young players.
And it's not, if we want to grow the club, gain value, and have a sustainable system, Dyche isn't it. The problem, as we've said, we don't want to shake it up again if we don't know what the future looks like. But we can't. This is an unacceptable route we're going down, and I don't see us getting a point. Or maybe we get 1 point against Wolves. Beyond that, it's basically bottom of the table for Christmas. And then you say, okay, can you result? You hope these 3 teams that are meant to be worse than us also have poor fixtures, and we just magically, like, hope isn't a plan, but right now that's all we've got.
And very little of that as well.
That just, sorry, I'm not laughing at you. That's just that's a wonderful phrase. Hope isn't a plan, but yeah, it's all we've got. You sound like Malcolm Reynolds.
I'll have to look him up. Americans don't read enough, I guess.
or watch enough American TV.
Yeah.
Well, you are Australian. I just said you'd lived in America for too long.
I've lived in many places.
No. Yeah, I don't know. What's the solution, guys? What's the consensus? What's the vote?
We
get rid of him when we've got a plan, but until we've got a plan.
But maybe it's simply Moyes is an improvement on Dyche, and he can take us to the end of the year because he'd be willing to come back.
I don't want to suggest that I'm making a satirical or allegorical or analogy here. This is just purely imagery, right? But you're saying, well, what's the plan and how do we go forward? Well, if you realize that you have cancer, the first stage is to, if you can, remove the tumor. That's a terrible imagery, and I'm not saying that as any sort of personal thing, but
this one here.
I wanted Dyche to succeed because, as you said at the start, it was no nonsense. It was like none of this frippery and, okay, the excesses of, we'll get James Rodriguez. No, I want a solid team and I want to invest in the youth and I want to go forward and I don't care about marquee signings and I want Moyes economy football. There was sort of an element to that. But what's happening?
Yeah. I personally, I've never liked Dyche. I don't like his tactics. I don't like his, how he is in his interviews. However, I thought at the time he was the right answer for us. We needed that toughness. We needed that no nonsense after how weak we were and just jelly-led we were under Frank Lampard. After the first season, I thought, after the first half of the season, he deserved a year. After last season, I thought he deserves another year because of what he's done. But at no point has he kicked on from that. And if anything, he's regressed. So at that point, look, let's be honest. He's not going to be here at the end of the season. We're going to say thank you, goodbye, see you later. We just need a plan. Ideally, I want Freakins to come in, shift Dyche out, and we get a new manager in. But it has to be the correct decision. If it's Moyes for 6 months, that's fine. But it'll have to only be for 6 months because I don't want it to spitball again and just be in the same position in 2 years.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm beat. I feel like it's been so many weeks of talking about Dross. I want to see a goal. The fans want to see a goal. It may not actually win. I would love to see a win too, but let's start with progress.
Yeah, just a couple of shots on target, just a goal, something to celebrate.
Come on, lads. Let's get a throw in. Let's get a fucking throw in.
I mean, we can get throw-ins. That's Dyche's tactic.
Maybe we can throw a long ball into the box from a throw-in like all the other teams do.
Yeah, that'd be good. The old Delap.
Hi, Lee. Yeah, watching for 40 plus years. I don't suppose when you consider seriously watching, but I suppose I've been going for consistently for about 23 years now. And it is the worst I have seen. I remember even watching football peripherally in the 90s, but there was some sort of spirit to, and at least football was more open, when we were playing like Wimbledon and West Ham. Well, you know what I mean? I don't want to be disparaging, but
I don't know. I think there was I nearly stopped watching football completely under Benitez. So I think for me, that's worse. I walked away for a couple of months because I just could not deal with it. From December when he was in till when he got sacked, I literally walked away because I couldn't deal with it. The football was terrible. I hated the guy who was in charge, everything he'd done. So for me, that's worse. But doesn't mean to say that this is good. Doesn't mean to say that this is acceptable. It really, really isn't. And he needs to pull his finger out, so we need to pull him out.
It's I mean, somebody said before, forgive me, I don't know who it was in the comments, and I did read it. We do try to read as many of them as well, even if we don't display them. Somebody had the fantastic idea of, look, if we can't sack him financially because we're waiting for stuff, why not have a gentleman's agreement with him where we say, look, step away from your duties, allow others to deputize others to do them, and you will get your payoff. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Like, something. If you care about your reputation as a football manager moving forward, right? You don't want to, like, and this is not working and untenable. Let us show that you're capable of compromise and acting professionally. You know, even if it's not by the letter of everything. You know, it's the right thing to do. Look, we employed you to manage this club. You are mismanaging it. We are not in a position to financially able to sever that contract. But can we honour that you do not exercise your duties and cause more damage, and you'll get some money? Like,
don't do a Carlo or whatever when he's trying to steal money out of us.
Maybe the thing is, he doesn't care about that. It's a job. He doesn't care about that. It's a job for him. It's his reputation, and he either gets a payoff or he doesn't. And he's not going to be damaged by staying in the job that much because the media love him, and the media think he's still doing an okay job. There's very little questioning going on of him. He's under very little pressure from the media, considering how dross we've been.
It's yeah. And I don't know. It begins to feel like absolute farce, where journalists and people in the know at the football and match of the day and the footballing circles and all that must, you know, it's like a joke that everyone and Dyche, but no one else is in on. That's like, oh, you know, fuck Everton over, ha ha ha. You know, don't play these players. The players that actually be really good starting 11, just let them languish on the sidelines till their value drops. Everton don't get their money for them, and they move to competition, and then they've got an aging squad that are useless, and they've gone down. Ha 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 ha! It seems like, I know it seems far fetched, right? But when you actually think about it and go, you know what? Okay, it's 99.9% bollocks, but there's a little bit in there that go, you know what? It's starting to make a bit of sense. Like, that cannot be a tenable situation. Like, please tell me I'm not being...
Operation Gaslight, and we're the ones being gaslit.
Yes, it's Operation
100%.
Gaslight.
He's convinced the media, he's convinced the players that we're in a relegation fight from the off, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. He's walked us into that. Whereas if he'd have been a bit more positive and not said, oh, we just have to be defensive, he tells the players, I've not got the players for it. How does that make the players feel? That they're not good enough? That they're terrible?
Gavin's just talked about players as well, that when you're saying that they feel like they're not good enough, at least give them a chance. Squad rotation, try something out, trial and error. If you're repeating the same thing and getting the same results and you're in a calamitous situation. But Gavin's just mentioned those players there. We've discussed them before, and it just shows you, like, all the youth players that we hemorrhaged as well and got rid of. I understand financially, but before that, we didn't have to. You know, were you seriously telling me that for years we've had almost no quality come through an entire youth academy system?
To be fair, I was speaking to someone who was within the youth system. They said that our youth academy is not the best. Liverpool, City, and Manchester just pick the most physical, like you said, pick the most physical kids, offer them everything. They offer shirts, seeing other players, and we can offer absolutely nothing. So we really are lacking in terms of local recruitment.
All right. So we don't know. We think we know where we can go next, but part of it is outside of our hands. It's either Dyche goes tomorrow, and I think we'll feel better. Moyes somehow comes in and is happy to take a short contract, or we just hope the Friedkins rip off the Band-Aid and make things feel better. And hopefully the quicker the better, and it's a Christmas miracle, because I'm not looking forward to Wolves. I'm scared of that we don't get a point. I'll be away out and checking my phone probably early morning out in rural Oz and won't be able to watch it live. And it's better for me that I'm just not having to watch some of these games. And I think so many fans, you're hearing people that have been here for 40 years. It's a difficult time. We have to try for optimism, even if it seems foolish, because we're not the ones making the decision. We can hope that they have a plan, but they can't hope to have a plan and keep doing what they're doing. But we're seeing maybe the new ownership will work out, but even then there's question marks. We've got to keep going with a bit of hope here, because if we don't, Christmas is going to be a tough time for everyone, and I don't want to put that on anyone other than...
It's going to be a lean Christmas at the...
The Reds are having a good Christmas anyway, so why don't we just knuckle down, prepare, do what we can. Hope will kill you, but without hope, what have we got? You know?
Yeah, but you sounded like Yoda. You know, there is no try. There is only do or do not.
Well, we're not doing very much on the pitch. Okay.
Shake a leg, boys. Shake a leg.
Yeah, I think that's it from us out in Oz. Thanks for again and Corey, and yeah, keep an eye out for Corey making another show talking about managerial options. That sounds really interesting for a watch back as well. So until next time, well, I guess mediocre the Toffees, but it's not up the Toffees right now.
Up the Baileys.
Off the Baileys.
Baileys.